Okay, so you're not just limited to this area or your particular house. So I wanted to kind of go over this and to help answer some of the questions that I know a lot of people had about why they're doing this. They're taking our property. No, they're not taking your property. No, this is not gentrification. No, this is not eminent domain. That is not what's happening. It is just merely notifying you that this particular area, in this case Paul Qinn College, wants to do something different than what their current zoning allows. In other words, what their current land use will allow them to do. And they want to let you know. So it's just like, for example, if you live in a one-story house and all of a sudden you want to build it, make it two-story. Well, guess what we have to do? We have to notify all your neighbors saying that you want to build a two-story house instead of a one-story house. And your neighbors would have a chance to say whether they like that or not. Okay? There's two parts to this. First part, it goes to the Planning Commission. Planning Commission is where all of this gets hammered out in terms of what the community wants, how efficient and how effective it is for the community or for that area. Once that's hammered out, whether it passes or not, then it comes to the City Council. From there, City Council, we, as each council member, we can override what was the lower, if you want to look at it from the lower court or the Plan Commission. So even if the Plan Commission decides to vote in favor of it or deny it, we have the ability to be able to change that. If something changes between now and then, let's say for whatever reason it passes the Plan Commission, but between the time it comes to us, we find out that it's not true or it's going to be detrimental, we have the right to be able to stop it. So this is not the last, this is not the end all be all of this. So this first round or first notice you receive is from the Plan Commission. So our next, it will go back before the Plan Commission. So if you received one, you're going to receive another one because I think the new date is December 14th or 15th that it's going before the Plan Commission. So you're going to receive another notice and asking you whether you in favor or not. But hopefully tonight we're going to answer all questions. I think President Sorrell said don't give me the snowball questions. So we're going to ask the questions. We're going to find the answers, and we're going to be as transparent as possible. Okay, so I want you to know that that was my promise to you when I came in. Still my promise to you, because again, if I can find a person or an individual spreading the misnomers, the untruth, or who's lying to us, as I said before, I'll go talk to them about why they're lying to us about what's going on. I want you to know the truth, because again, we've been lied to too long to know what's going on. So I want to educate you as much as possible. I want you to know as much as I know, because guess what? If you think about it, I watched it in terms of from the north and south. We always do the comparison. North Dallas, they know it just as much as their council person, if not more. I'm not afraid for you to know more than me because I'm only one person. There's no way in the world I can know everything. But I will take counsel from everybody in terms of making the best decision. So I want you to know as much as I know, if not more, and value if you know more than me, because I have no problems with you know more than I do. Okay, because some of you all have forgotten more than I know right now. Okay, all right. So again, with that, I want to just kind of give the intro of what we're here for and what the expectations are. Okay, and so where I stand in this. So where we're at right now is just at the beginning phase to notify you, hey, this is coming up. Plan Commission is going to review it. They're going to take back your notices. They're going to take your notices. So please mail this back, because it helps us when the Plan Commission looks at it. As the commission looks at it, they'll look at the notices and say, hey, we sent out 300 notices and we got back 2. Or we sent out 300 notices, we got back none. It happens every week. Every Planning Commission, we get those. So we're looking at, okay, what is the community saying? So then by the time it gets to me, there's a fear of people who are coming up in t-shirts, mainly in t-shirts and buses, saying that either they support it or they don't. And we had no idea that they were for or against it. So I want to know ahead of time, and if we can work out all the problems beforehand to decide whether we want it or not. And this goes back to the promise I made to you before, is that nothing comes in our community unless we say so. I'm not pushing anything, I'm not pushing any agenda, I'm pushing what we want to do. Okay? All right, so with that, I want to turn it over to our gracious host and thank Dr. Sorrell for hosting this meeting and letting us know and giving us the insight into what they're proposing. And again, let's ask the questions that we want to ask and do our best to dispel, well, leave out here with the truth. And that's what we want. We want, as the old folks would say, all hearts and minds clear. All right, that's the way we want to leave tonight. All right, thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. I want to thank our Deputy Mayor Pro Tem for coming out and convening this meeting tonight and for always being supportive of the things that we're trying to do here at Paul Qinn College. I also want to say thank you to everyone who is here. You had lots of choices of things that you could do this evening. And football game, thank you for reminding me, okay. For those of you that are football fans, all right. But the reality of it is you made a decision to come out and spend the evening with us and learn about some pretty exciting things, and we appreciate that. We don't take your time for granted, we don't take your interest for granted. So we just want to say thank you and give you a hand for engaging in the process. Right? So I am Michael Sorrell. I'm the president here at Paul Qinn College. I have been the president of Paul Qinn College for, it will be 10 years in March. And it's been a fun 10 years. It's more fun now than it was at the beginning. right. But it really has been. Part of it is to see all the changes that have gone on in our community. And people like to focus on changes that are physical changes. I actually like to focus on the changes that are human changes. Because when we, well, thank you. When we started out, there wasn't nearly as much engagement as there is now, right? And that's happened because of the hard work of our community leaders, right? I mean, people like Claire McDade, who has worked hard for years, right? But she's not the only one. I mean, I see lots of faces that have been out for years just advocating for this community and being great neighbors and great community leaders. And you don't always get the credit that you deserve, right? It's sort of a thankless job, right? But nothing would move forward if folks weren't pushing it consistently. And so when I see those changes, those to me are the most special. So it's just an honor to be able to witness that. We are going to aid of the assistance of my trusty aide, Alyssa. Alyssa, you want to wave at the people? You can come on back from the back and wave at the people. So we are a work college, and our students do a lot of jobs that you would see other people do in other places. But we think that's an important part of their learning experience. And so she does a great job with IT. So instead of having somebody else man the slides, Alyssa is manning the slides. So we appreciate that. So she and I are going to work on communication. I'm going to point, and she's going to click, and we're going to be in business. So, uh-oh.
You didn't point.
All right, I didn't point. All right, we're pointing now. So what we're going to talk about is an overview of what exactly we're doing here at Paul Qinn. So what I thought might be nice, instead of just focusing on the development, which is amazing, we want to talk about the overall vision that we have for the campus and why this is so important. It's easy to focus on one project, but we think it'd be a lot better to give you an overall sense of why this is an institution that has caught the imagination and the interest of America. Because it's truly what's happened. You know, you might not notice, but 40% of our students come from outside the state of Texas. 60% of our students are coming from outside of the city of Dallas. We are an institution that's experiencing enormous growth, and part of the byproduct of that growth now is we need places to put all the students who want to come. So we are going to go through the slide. So just a brief history. As you know, this used to be Bishop College, right? And look, Bishop College was an amazing place, and it's near and dear to the heart of folks in this community. Yes. And we respect Bishop College. We honor our history of Bishop College. At homecoming, it's a joint homecoming. So we have the alums of Bishop College and we have the alums of Paul Qinn. We call ourselves the Clifftop family, right? So we don't view it as anything other than an opportunity to celebrate the legacies of two amazing institutions. But Bishop College, the campus was built for Bishop in 1961. Okay, 1961. The majority of the buildings on this campus were built during that time period. The newest building on the campus is the administration building, and that was built, I think Ms. Weeks is back there. Ms. Weeks, was it late 70s, early 80s? The Adams building was built late 70s, early 80s? Yes. So late 70s, early 80s. That's the last time there has been a new building built on this campus. Okay, 40 years. In 1988, Bishop College closed. All right, broke the heart of many people in this community and broke the heart of people in this city. May 1990, Paul Qinn College announced that it was going to relocate from Waco, where it had been located for over 120 years, and move to Dallas. Now, typically when a move like that takes place, it takes place over, the planning process is years. Okay, years. That's not what happened in this case. Alyssa? They announced it in May of 1990. In August of 1990, it moved. Right? So Paul Qinn announced it. 3 months later, it moved from Waco to Dallas. It broke the heart of people in Waco. And it came to a place where, quite honestly, the campus had been empty for 2 years. Nothing had been going on. All right? That's hard. So the school never really had a fighting chance. And those 20 some odd years that existed made it difficult, almost 20 years, made it difficult for Paul Qinn to ever really get its footing here in Dallas. And the school struggled. And you know the legacy. I'm not going to belabor that point. We all know the institution struggled for a very long time. All right? And in 2007, our board of trustees, led by Bishop Gregory Ingram, they did a project with Boston Consulting Group. And they figured out that if the school didn't make some radical changes, that it would go out of business in a year to 18 months. So think about that. This would have been the only physical location in the country to have killed 2 historically black colleges. All right? And give the board credit because they were willing to do the hard work necessary to change the school. And this is how we decided to do that. We created something called the New Urban College Model. And the idea for the New Urban College Model is this. Urban colleges, like Paul Qinn, should turn themselves outward and address the needs of their communities and their students. Amen. Far too many urban colleges just worry about what goes on their campus. We don't think that's right? We think that we have an obligation to engage in the issues that are important to this community. And we ask, right? And we don't always run around with surveys and say, hey, let's tell us what you think. We ask at events. We ask when we have staff members who sit on the different boards of the neighborhood organizations, or when we have, when Coach West holds a basketball camp for the neighborhood students because Ms. McDade and others told us the students needed more things to do, right? We have listened for 10 years, right? For 10 years we have asked, what is it that's important to this community? And what you're seeing now is what that looks like, all right? We over me, and you can't really read it there, but that's our institutional ethos. We think the needs of a community supersede the wants of an individual. So as an institution, we are dedicated to this idea that the needs of our communities come first. So this is what that looks like. We terminated the football program, and now we have a little nice ambiance where we just want to say thank you for being here tonight. We're going to pipe in a little jazz in a moment. Everybody get in the mood. But we turned our football field into a farm, 2-acre organic farm. And look, when we started it, we didn't know what we were doing. Right? We had spent 2 years trying to get a grocery store. And look, I will be the first to admit it. I was so naive. I figured, hey, how hard can it be to get a grocery store? There is no grocery store. There are 4,500 people in this zip code. Supply, demand, this should be easy. And for 2 years, people told me no. Some people laughed. Some people insulted our community, right? And so we got angry. Then we offered free land. We said we have 140-something acres. If you are willing to relocate to this community, hire people from this community, we'll give you the land. No one called. So we got lucky and formed a relationship with Trammell S. Crow. And from that, we were able to begin to turn the football field into a farm. And then we partnered with Pepsi to turn the entire football field into a farm. So it's an organic farm. We give away 10% of everything we grow, right? And we give it away to the North Texas Food Bank, which then distributes it throughout this community. Now we're working on expanding that. We have a 3,000-foot greenhouse. If you haven't had a chance to see the farm, because we did a pumpkin patch event for Halloween for the students in this community, you are always welcome to come. Now some of y'all might not be young enough for the pumpkin patch, right? But you're welcome to come see the farm, all right? The Dallas Symphony Orchestra, for almost the last 7 years, actually for the last 7 years, has played some type of free concert on the campus. The first couple of years, they played string quartets. Then they brought the entire orchestra, has played for free here, because, and you know, let me just tell you, when we started, some folks tried to tell us, well, we don't think people in those communities are interested in the fine arts. And our response was, actually, we don't think the fine arts are interested in the people in these communities, right? And when we started out, you know, it was 250 people. Now we're up to 2,500 people come to hear the symphony play every summer, right? That's huge. We partnered with one of my alma maters, Duke University, to create something called Duke Immerse to study the environmental racism that occurred because of the landfill, right? So we brought the resources of Duke here to go through and do projects where they actually asked the neighborhood about the things that they were concerned about, right? Trinity Environmental Academy, and I see, is that Jennifer back there in the shadows? You guys might have seen Jennifer because she helps run Trinity Environmental Academy, which is the first environmental charter school, public charter school, in the state of Texas. And that's here. It's a STEM school on our campus that is growing by leaps and bounds, and it's incredible, right? And really and truthfully, if you are ever in a bad mood, come on campus and just wait to watch the little kids walk by, right? I mean, there are many a day that I am in my office mad about something, and I look out and I see the students walking to lunch, and I don't even remember what I'm mad about, right? It's a wonderful experience, but that's something here. We've got the Sisters with Vision and My Brother's Keeper. Those are student organized projects that have adopted the students at J.N. Irving. Right? Now you might not have heard of that because we don't advertise that. The students do it because they love it and because they want to. Right? So they go out, the Sisters with Vision, they mentor the young ladies. My Brother's Keeper, they mentor the young brothers. Right? And this is something, it was started by our students and is maintained by our students. We are so incredibly proud of their work with that. The community cleanups. Our Student Government Association has done community cleanups, I feel like at least once a month they have been out doing community cleanups. Right? And again, we don't advertise these things. They just go out and do it because they have bought into this idea that we have a responsibility to be great neighbors. All right, our facilities guys will go along from 45 down to Bonneview, picking up trash on both sides of the street just because we think our neighborhood should have clean streets, right? And we're proud to do those things. This was our first time ever being an early voting location. And you know, over 4,000, that wasn't even the applause part yet. So, over 4,000 people voted at this early voting location. This weekend, we partnered with George Lynch, who used to play for the Dallas Mavericks. He's a coach at SMU, and his AAU program, Flight 9. And we also partnered with the rest of the Highland Hill community in Venus Cobb and did a turkey giveaway. So we gave away 120 turkeys. Right? And if you follow me on Facebook, you can see the Facebook Live stream that we did. That is actually pretty funny because people love those turkeys. And then the last one is a project that we're in process right now of researching. And it's called Weekend University. And some of you have heard me speak about this. We think that there's an opportunity to offer free classes to the citizens of this community on the weekend.
Amen.
And the idea is just, and my students are out now doing research, asking if you had an hour to 2 hours to learn anything you want to learn, what would you like to learn? Right now, this isn't for academic credit, this is just for life advancement. And the answers that they are getting back time and time again, we want computer skills training and we want financial literacy training. Would that be consistent with what you guys would be interested in? So those are things that we're going to start rolling out in second semester. And, you know, we just think we've got the space. We have professors that are willing to spend some hours on the weekend and teach it. So why don't we do it? Let's help everybody advance.
Sorrell,
Yes, sir.
if you thought about getting grants for what this program, for this computer, this weekend university, like getting grants?
Yeah, no, I'm all about raising money in every possible way. But here's the thing. Lots of people use the absence of money as an excuse to do things, right? We start doing things because there's just some things you can do just by having the heart to do it. You know, I mean, like we have the classrooms. We have people who will teach it. So, you know, look, if some of us have to band together and donate the food so people have food, our students are willing to help watch the students. I mean, I'll take all the money I can raise. And the Dallas Foundation was kind enough to give us a small grant to beta test all of this. But we don't believe in excuses to keep us from doing what we think is right. So we came up with this idea called the Access Triangle. And this is an economic development model. And it's about sustainable and organic economic development for existing residents. And let me tell you something. I grew up in Chicago and was very fortunate. My parents owned a barbecue restaurant. But my parents were socially conscious. And my dad and mom used to drive me throughout the city of Chicago, and they would point things out to me. And one of the things that they would point out is what happens with gentrification. And I was raised to believe there is not much more evil in life than eminent domain, taking people's land, running people off of their property, and then taking advantage of it. And the folks who held on never get to enjoy that. Right? Now, that's just a personal, that's what I was raised with. I can't tell you the number of hours I spent in my parents' cars listening to lectures about how you never do that to people. Okay? Like it's wrong. So, you know, came up with this model. And basically what this means is, and you'll see the triangle in a minute, this is a way to address the most vital needs of a community that allows you to redevelop the area without displacement or gentrification, right? You do it in a way that serves the needs of the people who live there. Now, look, we have an enormous benefit here because we have an entire college with that mentality, right? And so we're going to develop the campus with that mentality. Now listen. So this is it. So in this community, what people told us was their 3 points access to food, because we're a food desert. No longer, can we have a hand for the Save a Lot? Access to education, and education we use broadly. It's not just K-12 or college education, it's education of all sorts, right? How do you help people improve themselves as they move along? And then access to capital, because you know what? You can't build anything if you don't have the resources to build it, all right? And so we listen. So we started with the farm. We started with food because it was the most ridiculous, longest shot that there could be. To start a farm at a college with no farming program, with no one who knows anything about farming. This is a true story. We started learning about farming through Google, right? We Googled what grows in Dallas. Now, full disclosure, that's how you wind up with a farm with hoses as the irrigation system, right? Like that's what like the students would sit and water the food and the crops were growing. We had some kinks to work out in our design flaws. But that's why we started there. But the development piece, capital and education, we think that we can redevelop this campus and help support this community by focusing on education as the anchor for those projects. Now listen. So this is our campus. Everything within the yellow, we own, right? Everything in the yellow, we own.
What's the red there?
The red is where the development is going to go. So I want you to take a look at this. We own enough property that we don't ever have to ask anyone for any property.
Amen.
Okay? Like I want you to see this because we're not going to displace anyone. Look at all this land. Right, yeah, I mean, there might be a couple trees that get displaced, but then we're going to build some other ones in some other place on campus. Don't get me in trouble with the city. All right? So here, these were all abandoned buildings when I arrived. We had 15 abandoned buildings on the campus. The entire front of the campus was abandoned buildings. Okay? A joke that we tell, it's funnier now than it was back then. One of the buildings on the roof had trees and shrubbery growing out of it. Right? So, went to recruit a student at one of the local high schools and say, from Paul Qinn, we'd love to have you here. I said, aren't you the school with the building with trees growing on the roof? Like, we don't want to come to your school. And my response was, listen, we are cutting edge. That is a green roof. Okay? All right? You are missing out. I was like, you got to free your mind. Okay? But the point is, all those buildings have been knocked down. Right? We've knocked down 15 abandoned buildings. The time now is to grow. We are, as I was saying, we're the first urban work college in America. All right? It only costs $14,300 to attend Paul Qinn College. That's everything. That is room, board, tuition, all of it. Okay? Students attend this college, they get a job that they work during the school year. They work between 10 to 20 hours a week. That helps them earn $5,000 towards their tuition and fees, and it helps them earn an additional $1,000 to $1,500 in spending money. Okay? Then they have Pell Grant eligible, so $10,800 of that $14,300 is taken care of right out of the gate. All right? But funny things have happened. Now, since 2010, our enrollment has grown 200%. Okay? In the last 2 years, enrollment is growing so quickly, we can't accommodate the interest in the college. We have nowhere to put the students. All right? This is part of the reason we are here talking to you about this now, because we have to grow. We have to grow. The time has come to grow. We've had to have waiting lists for the last 2 years because more people want to come than we can accommodate. That's why this project is so exciting, because there have been no new buildings in 40 years. people all of a sudden want to come to Highland Hills to go to college. I think they should be able to do so. Right? This is how that happens. So this triangle is, and let me just say right now, my wonderful special assistant, Mercedes Fulbright, tried to teach me how to do this earlier today. I'm not very good at it. I cut off some of the angles, all right? But this is it. The strip mall that everyone hates because it's all boarded up, that gets knocked down. Right? The building where we have the police sign, I think we all know there are no police in that building. Okay. I don't mean to like burst anybody's bubble, all right? That gets knocked down. We're gonna clear all this out and we're gonna build, next slide please. This is what's coming, okay? This is a 200-unit apartment complex. All right, and there's some things I want you to pay special attention to. This is a community amenity area. This is a swimming pool. Because you know what? Our wonderful architects and partners on this project, and we're developing this with Matthew Southwest. How many of you have seen Southside on Lamar? Okay, so the folks who built Southside on Lamar are working with us to build this. Okay? So, everyone agrees there should be a pool. It's not a surprise. Everybody else's apartment complexes in other parts of the city have pools. Why shouldn't we have a pool? Okay, clearly you all don't swim. But the point is, the pool is going to be a cool thing, all right? It's going to be a cool thing. So the apartment complex, and let's the next slide. This is what it's going to look like from the street level. Okay? Pretty cool, right? So this is, we're also going to build a new dormitory on campus. Right? If you guys are kind enough to let us work on the zoning. Okay? This is the new look for what our campus is going to look like. Right? This, we think, is kind of a cool look. And we think, can you imagine the street appeal as you're driving down Simpson Stewart Road, and this is what this campus starts to look like? Like, how exciting is that going to be? Something else I need to tell you, DART has already agreed to move, well, I think they agreed, but we're going to say they've agreed, because that way once we say it, that means they have to do it. So they've agreed they're going to move the bus stop so that it's more compatible to where people need it, right? So that we can start to have better access in and out of the community. So all these things are coming. And it's 200 units for the apartment complex. And remember, we're using education as the anchor. So a third of the units are going to go to students because we need more space. A third of the units are going to go to single mothers who are trying to manage their lives and need support with their kids. And a third of the units are going to go to educators. All right, so teachers, professors, DISD teachers, all of that. Because what we're trying to do is create an environment where families have access to amazing educational opportunities. So you can do that. So think about it like this. Oh, can you do the next slide? I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is what it looks like from the top, but you've seen the cool parts. This is, I like this part just because it's kind of cool, but I'm a geek like that. Next slide. So, did we skip a slide? No? Okay. All right. So, a couple things that we'd ask you to remember. All we're asking is to change the zoning classification. That's it. Right? This isn't, can we buy people's land? Can we take people's land? Like, we would never, like, that's not what we stand for. You don't spend 10 years developing relationships with your neighbors to then come back and take their land. Amen. Right? That's just not what you do. That's not, well, let me put it like this, that's not what we're going to do. All right? So, we can't grow if the zoning classification doesn't change. And that's just the most honest thing that I can tell you. If we can't build new buildings, I don't know how we continue to improve the institution because we don't have enough space and we haven't built anything in 40 years. Everyone else has built stuff. Have you been to SMU lately? Hell, UNT built a whole new campus, right? Why shouldn't Highland Hills get new buildings, right? I mean, so that's it. This is a zoning request so that we can grow. All the land needed for this project already exists inside the yellow lines that I showed you. So we don't have to buy any houses. We don't have to do any of that. All we want to do is build on what we already own.
Sorrell.
Yes, sir.
So what's the city saying to you how you can't do what you want to do?
Well, they're on board, right? I mean, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Wilson has been fantastic, but there's some processes, right? And one of the processes is the community has to sign off on the zoning change.
The community didn't want to sign.
All right. The point here is that we don't think there's anything wrong with this, right? But that's why we're holding meetings like this one. This is the third, I think, of these types of meetings that we've held where we'll answer any question, right? And it doesn't matter whether you think it's a great question or not. If you don't know something, just ask, right? Now, the apartments, as I said before, house students, single mothers, and educators, right? Next slide. Now, here's some things that are going to come with this project. We're going to have an early childhood center, okay? This is about providing top-notch early childhood care for this area. There's going to be an academic enrichment center. Now, I am incredibly passionate about this because here's something I know. My son, who is 6, has been going to academic enrichment classes on weekends since he was 3 years old. Now, that might say something about my wife and I, okay? But here's the thing. We're not alone at these centers. When we show up in these places, this is the students who go to St. Mark's, they go to ESD, they go to the magnet school. They're all there too. But there are no academic enrichment programs in this part of the city. They don't exist. So not only are our students being asked to make do with substandard learning materials, they're not even getting the out-of-school instruction benefits that everybody else does just because they live north of downtown. That's not right, right? And we have the ability to do something about that. So we're going to do something about that. So we're adding an academic enrichment center. We're adding a coffee shop. Now, those of you who love Starbucks, this is not going to be Starbucks. Okay? There's no offense, right? But the people we're negotiating with, it's a really cool concept. The coffee shop doubles on the weekends as a church because we are a faith-based school. So while y'all are getting tanked up on caffeine, we need some prayers going on too, okay? We are also going to have a food pantry because of an amazing friend of ours who runs a food pantry. It's called Minnie's Food Pantry. You know Minnie's? Yes. Yeah, so Cheryl Jackson is a great friend of ours. We love her. She's going to open up a Minnie's Food Pantry here. There's going to be office space, okay? There's going to be entrepreneurship space because we think that we deserve that this should be a hub of creativity. So we're going to do that too. And then there's a project that we're also going to build on campus that's going to be exciting called At Last. And instead of me talking about At Last, I'm going to let the guy who came up with the idea come talk about At Last. And Randy, before you have to run out. So this is Randy Bowman. All right, give him a hand. All right. And he's going to talk about this project.
And I'm going to keep it really, really brief because you didn't come to hear from me. But here's what the project does. I'm going to keep it 30,000 foot, and I'm happy to answer any questions about it at some of the time when I will leave a contact address with Michael so that you can reach out. Here's basically what it does. We think that educational outcomes in we think that urban education is broken because of a disparity of educational resources and tools.
Okay.
We think the kids that live in the neighborhoods like the one I grew up in Pleasant Grove, I'm old Spruce boy. We think the kids in those neighborhoods can learn perfectly well. And urban education fails, not because those kids can't learn, not because those parents don't care, and honestly, not because the teachers can't teach. It fails because mothers like my mom couldn't provide us with the educational resources and tools that other people's children had. And this is despite her being the best mother in the world. So what we did was to set out to try and design a program that would allow loving parents who needed more educational resources and tools to be able to provide that to their children. So I'm kicking this around because President Sorrell and I have known each other forever, like when we were young lawyers in this town.
We had hair.
Back when. I mean, I still have some. That's a statement about what Mike thinks about my hair. Right? That's all right, I understand. So I came over to talk to Michael about it because I have a lot of respect for his commitment to education. And I'm talking to him about this program and I'm telling him how it is that I think it works. And I say, I'm looking for the right place for it. And he says, why don't you do it here? What I loved about it was the reason that he wanted it done here. He says, I have a neighborhood of children right across Bishop. J.N. Irvin's front door is a quarter mile from where this campus is. I have 500 students between the first grade and the fifth grade at J.N. Irvin. This community has been great to Paul Qinn College. Why wouldn't you do that project here so that the children in that community could get the benefit of it? Well, I was told it was good enough for me, right? So we are going to do the project here. And the best way to phrase it is this. For the children whose parents choose to have them involved, they're going to get roughly $50,000 a year worth of extra educational resources and tools that would not otherwise have been available. So we're excited to do it, and I would love to be able to do it at Paul Qinn College. Obviously, when I came to talk to Michael about it, we were thinking about doing it in several places around town. I would love it if we were able to do it here. If this project comes through, I think we can do it here. If it doesn't come through, then obviously we're going to have to do it somewhere else. But the bottom line is we're going to do it somewhere, and I'd like for it to be here. Thanks a lot.
So one of the things I want you to take away from this is our vision of economic development, our vision of a redeveloped Highland Hills community is anchored by the educational institutions of this community. By anchoring it in the educational institutions of this community, that creates sustainable and organic economic development for the people who live here, right? It's your children, your grandchildren, it's your schools that we are betting on. What we are doing is using the resources of the institution and some amazing friends from some of the best companies in their areas in this country have signed on to support this endeavor. What we are asking you to do is to help us make this happen. And it's literally that simple. And if you do that, then here's the last slide. You'll get lots of happy kids, right? These are all our students, well, except for my wife and I, right? But these are all students who go to Paul Qinn. And here's what's interesting about them. You know where she went to high school?
Roosevelt.
Wilma Hutchins.
Wow.
Yeah, no, this is Wilma Hutchins, right? He's from Detroit. He's from Plano. He's from Minneapolis, San Francisco, Houston, and this is our Army brat, right? But he's from Little Rock, okay? And this is what we're doing now. So I'm going to be quiet and answer any and every question you have, and I'll take as long as you want me to take. Now, I'm gonna call on her because my mama told me ladies first, okay?
She's cuter than me too.
Get the mic.
I make no value judgment.
Dr. Sorrell, I did call Baldwin and Associates, and know, they sent a letter out. And so, they talked about retail. Can y'all not hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh.
You know, I know y'all can hear me. Okay. Anyway, I called Baldwin and Associates, and they were very, very nice. Is it on? Okay. And they talked about retail, and I realized we cannot make Subway come out here. We cannot make Jimmy John's or Luby's, you know, come out here.
Yes.
But I am very interested, you know, maybe perhaps from someone like you that can have influence on getting retail out here. You say we have 4,500 people. I believe we have more people out here with warehouses that are asking for 155,000 employees to make the warehouses go. We really, and when your apartments come up, you know, the Save-A-Lot will be overwhelmed. You know, so we're already underserved in terms of retail, washateria, clinic, restaurant, 7-Eleven, you know, that sort of thing. So all of that really has to be considered, you know.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, these are amazing points.
You left out a drugstore.
And definitely a drugstore.
But so here's the thing, right? This is a signal, right? This is a signal to developers that this community will support development and will support these types of initiatives. So you're exactly right. Like, this is just phase one. We've got 3 more phases that we want to add to address exactly what you're talking about. So, but this is like, but we can't do anything. We can't get the zoning check. We win national awards regularly now. We have been named HBC of the Year and nominated twice, 2 other times, in the last 6 years. All right? National publications write about us all the time. But the people who treat us as if they don't quite realize how good we've become are folks who sometimes just have had less to believe in. So our job is to keep coming, right? We're not backing down. We're not running away. We're going to keep coming. And at some point, the tide will turn. But we have amazing students who are doing extraordinary things. And to see them, because, you know, and here's what people don't realize. When you say ugly things like that to the student, you hurt them, right? Like, you don't hurt me, right? You don't hurt my staff, because we're adults. We understand. We understand how bad things have gone for you to feel that way, right? But we're going to keep coming, but they don't deserve that. All our students have done is show up, work hard, and love this community. But we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Yeah. Right, there's one of our students right there. That is who we love, right? Dad, you want to say something, or did you just hold the mic? Sure you want to say something? All right. Who's got their hand up next?
I got a question.
Okay.
I don't need a mic. I talk real loud. My question is, for property owners, would the new zoning have an adverse or positive effect on the amount of taxes they're going to pay? I don't know if you can answer it, or maybe Councilman Wilson can answer.
Yeah, well, so let me tell you this. This is a campus improvement, right? It's a campus improvement. So let me explain it like this. Your best bet for your taxes not to increase is for nothing here to happen, right? No grocery stores, no drug stores, no medical clinics. Like, if you want to keep your taxes where they are, then it's going to keep looking like this, right? Now, that doesn't mean that your taxes have to improve to a point or increase to a point where they price you out of your home. That's not going to happen, right? Like, it's not. But what I want us to understand and to take away from this is that we have to move forward. But this is a campus improvement. This is your best bet to shield you from any adverse tax repercussions. But I can't promise you there won't come a day where your taxes will increase some. But that's a Councilman Wilson.
take to make your plan for the approval of Paul Qinn available? Signatures or what? To develop the
You know what? That's a Rob Baldwin question, who's right here. This is Rob Baldwin, who is managing the zoning process for us.
Hi, my name is Rob Baldwin. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Rob Baldwin. I'm a planning consultant, and I'm helping navigate this process through the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council. What we need from you is letters of support or emails of support, either sent to the council member's office or Commissioner Haney over there, or just the city planning office. Anybody that got a notice from the city, one of the maps, the blue forms, you could fill that in and send it to the city. That'd be very helpful. Anything you do that would say we are supportive of what you're doing, that is helpful. What we don't want is any opposition. So there's people here who have concerns and have questions. That's what we're here to try to make sure that we answer. So there is no formal opposition against what we're doing, because that's what no one wants to see. So I'll be around here later if anybody has questions on process, timing, that kind of thing. But that's what we would like. Any letters of support, emails, telephone calls, turn in your blue forms, that would be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
I see you have a set of drawings here. What is this?
Oh, all that is the map that you've already seen.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sir, before you sit down, do you necessarily have to live in that area to send in letters of support?
No, if you want to, anybody who wants to write a letter of support would be great. Okay? If you're in that area on the map, that's 500 feet from the boundary of the college, and by city law, you get notice and you get what they call a ballot, and you get to write in. But any letters of support, phone calls, emails would be great from anyone. If you could do it in the next 2 weeks, that would be great. I know it's holidays, and I'm surprised to see such a big turnout. I'm sure you folks have people at home. Yeah. Is it for me or for the president? Okay. I'll stay around here. Look for me. I'll be right around this area after everything, if you want to talk to me later. Thanks.
When is scheduled for CPC? The hearing?
It was supposed to go on last Thursday, but it got held. And I thought it got held till the 1st, but I understood it got held to the 15th. Commissioner, can you confirm that? It was the 15th? December 15th.
This gentleman back. I'd like to say to President Michael Sorrell, thank you for that presentation. I did learn a little bit more than I did earlier when we first talked about this, I think at the beginning of the year. And I would like to let you know that definitely I support this.
Oh, thank you.
Will Paul Qinn be developing outside of the gate up here at the intersection of Highland Hill and Simpson Stewart in the little retail shopping spot that the land and the property that is owned?
Yeah,
That's what it is.
You want to pull that back up? So we are developing the land we own, right? So we will show this out. It goes all the way to that corner and it's a triangle. Right here. That's it.
Is this down about the bus station where it comes in Bonnie View and Holland Hill, or what? We need to go back.
Right across from the post office.
Yeah.
Master Bowie's old shop. Master Bowie's old barber shop.
Yeah. Went to the post office.
Yeah.
So here's the post office right here. Okay. And this is
A little strip center there that's close to that, right?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Who will, will this be enclosed in campus or security provided? Are the Dallas police responsible for security of this area?
So it is going to be inside the campus, right? With the retail will have access to the street.
Okay.
The apartments will be restricted,
Okay.
right? And let me say this. We owe this neighborhood an enormous thank you. And we don't, I try and tell people this all the time, and sometimes people don't believe me. Do you know we have, if not the lowest crime rate of any college in this city. One of the lowest crime rates. And that's not easy to do, right? But it happens because of the relationship we've built with this community and because of our neighbors, right? And that's, I mean, our students are blessed for that. So, but one of the things that we are committed to is we're going to keep this place safe. And we have an extraordinary relationship with the substation, and they regularly come to the campus, right? And to the point where they know our students know them, so there's never any confusion. You know, we've even got some examples of where our students have stumbled a little bit, maybe been in some places they shouldn't be in, right? When they pull out their IDs, the police officers see that they're Paul Qinn students, and then I get phone calls, or Coach West gets phone calls, and you know, they're like, please take us to jail, just don't. Right? But that's what community relationships can do for you. Anyone else? Well, let me say this, thank you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for being interested. Thank you for continuing to be so supportive of our students and our school. It means everything to us. We are proud to be your school. We are proud of the relationship that we have built here. We still have some snacks in the back. Please eat them. All right. Otherwise, you know, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem and I are going to be back there in the corner with crumbs on our mustaches, right?
I wanted to ask Mayor Pro Tem Eric Wilson, those blue forms that they sent out to the community, are they going to send out blue forms to those individuals again, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You will get a new one with a new date on it, with the new information on it.